Volunteers are requested to ensure that the silence and the decorum is maintained throughout the event. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor M. Afshar Alam, respected Chief Guest, Mr. Zafar Sheikh, founder of Campi Consulting LLC, our guest of honor, Mr. Brad Nation, CEO of Campi USA, Dean of our faculty, Professor Reshma Nasreen, Head of the Department, Dr. Sana Baik, faculty members, research scholars, staff members, and my dear friends, a very good afternoon to all of you. Okay, it's a morning, I'm sorry. So it's a very good morning to all of you. At the very outset, I, Dr. Khushbu Bhasin, on the behalf of the Department of Management, welcome you all to an international seminar on innovation and entrepreneurship as career opportunity, organized by Department of Management in collaboration with Institutions Innovation Council, Jamia, Hamdard. Before we start our program formally, I would like to invite Iman Saab to recite few verses from the Holy Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ليس عليكم جناح أن تبتغوا فضلا من ربكم فإذا أفضتم من عرفات فاذكروا الله عند المشعر الحرام. قرآن کی ایک آیت، اس کا بھی چھوٹا سا حصہ میں نے ابھی پڑھا ہے آپ کے سامنے، اور اس چھوٹے سے حصے کا بھی ایک چھوٹا سا ٹکڑا جو مجھے لگا کہ آج کے آپ کے سبجیکٹ سے شاید ریلیونٹ ہو، میں اسی کا ٹرانسلیشن اور اسی کے بارے میں ایک دو باتیں آپ کے سامنے ذکر کروں گا. حج کے بارے میں آپ سب جانتے ہیں کہ ہر مسلم کی یہ خواہش ہوتی ہے کہ وہ زندگی میں ایک بار حج کرے، اور اگر اس کی حیثیت ہے تو اس کے اوپر حج فرض ہے پوری زندگی میں ایک بار. تو جب اتنی تمناؤں کے بعد جب وہ آدمی حج کرنے جاتا ہے تو وہ اپنے ایک ایک وقت کو، ایک ایک منٹ کو، ایک ایک لمحے کو وہاں اچھی طرح استعمال کرتا ہے حج کے سفر میں. لیکن حج کے سفر میں عبادت کے علاوہ کسی چیز کی پرمیشن نہیں ہے. ایک چیز کی پرمیشن ہے آپ کو، آپ وہاں بزنس کر سکتے ہیں حج کے سفر میں. یہ بڑی عجیب سی چیز ہے. آپ حج کرنے گئے ہیں، اسی بات کو اس آیت میں کہا لیس علیکم جناح ان تبتغوا فضلا من ربکم. تم اپنے رب کی مہربانیوں کو وہاں جا کر اگر تم تلاش کرو اور کام میں لگ جاؤ تو کوئی گناہ نہیں ہے تمہارے لیے اس میں. یعنی اتنا بڑا، اتنا مقدس سفر جس کا ایک ایک لمحہ اتنا قیمتی ہے جو تم وہاں بتانا چاہتے ہو، اگر ان اوقات میں سے تھوڑا سا وقت تم نکال لو اور اپنی کوئی تجارت کر لو، وہاں پر کچھ چیزیں بیچو، کچھ چیزیں خرید لو، تو اس میں تمہارے لیے کوئی گناہ نہیں. اس سے صاف پتہ چلتا ہے کہ مذہب اسلام میں بزنس کو اور تجارت کو کتنی اہمیت دی ہے، کتنا بڑھاوا دیا ہے، ملازمت سے بھی کہیں اونچا درجہ دیا ہے کہ تم محنت کرو، آگے بڑھو. اچھا، بزنس کو کیوں پسند کیا گیا مذہب اسلام میں؟ بزنس مثال کے طور پر میں کر رہا ہوں تو ظاہر سی بات ہے اکیلا میں بزنس تو کچھ بھی نہیں کر سکتا. مجھے اپنے ساتھ اپنے کچھ ساتھیوں کی ضرورت پڑے گی، 2 4 5 10 20 50 آدمی مجھے چاہیے ہوں گے. اب ظاہر سی بات ہے کہ ان کے گھر میں جو چولہا جل رہا ہے وہ میری وجہ سے جل رہا ہے، ان کے گھر میں جو روزی آ رہی ہے وہ میری وجہ سے آ رہی ہے. یہ میں ایک مثال دے رہا ہوں آپ کو. تو بزنس کرنے والا خود اپنے گھر کی ترقی بھی ہوتی ہے اس کے، اور اس کے علاوہ وہ سینکڑوں لوگوں کی روزی روٹی کا ذریعہ بنتا ہے. اس لیے مذہب اسلام نے ہمیشہ بزنس کرنے والوں کو، اور بزنس جو لوگ اس قسم میں اس کام میں دلچسپی رکھتے ہیں ان کے کام کو ہمیشہ سراہا ہے اور آگے بڑھایا ہے. اور بزنس کے کام میں اللہ نے ایک عجیب بات یہ فرمائی، کہا تم بزنس کرو، برکت کی ذمہ داری میری ہے. تم کام شروع کرو اور اس کے بعد پھر چھوڑ دو ہمارے اوپر، ہم اس کام کو تمہارے آگے بڑھائیں گے اور تم کو تمہارے کام میں برکت دیں گے. تو بزنس اتنی بڑی چیز ہے. مجھے ایک آخری بات یاد آ گئی، میں اس کو ذکر کر دوں، چلوں پھر چلتا ہوں آپ کے پاس سے. आपने मोहन सिंह ओबराय का नाम सुना होगा। ये उस ज़माने में पार्टीशन से पहले पाकिस्तान में पैदा हुए थे और जब ये 6 साल के थे तो इनके फादर का इंतकाल हो गया। इनके पास कुछ नहीं था, ये पढ़ाई भी जारी नहीं रख सके। बड़ी मुश्किल से इन्होंने इंटरमीडिएट किया। इंटरमीडिएट करने के बाद इन्होंने ये सोचा कि मुझे कोई नौकरी वोकरी जॉब वॉब तो मिलेगी नहीं, चूँकि मेरी पढ़ाई बहुत छोटी सी है। तो इन्होंने, इनकी माँ ने इनको 25 रुपये दिए और कहा कि जाके तुम अपना काम शुरू करो कुछ। फिर ये इंडिया तकसीम हो गया, ये इधर आ गए। यहाँ आने के बाद इन्होंने होटल की लाइन में अपने ये पैसे लगाए और जिस ज़माने में सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर चल रही थी उस ज़माने में कलकत्ते के अंदर किसी होटल में इन्होंने थोड़ा सा पैसा लगाया। थोड़ा सा पैसा लगाने के बाद वही पैसे जो 25 रुपये उनकी माँ ने दिए थे, वही पैसे को वो आगे बढ़ाते रहे, आगे बढ़ाते रहे। फिर एक वक्त आया, आप जानते हैं कि बिज़नेस में होटल, ओबराय होटल का नाम कितना बड़ा है। ये सब इन्हीं का कायम किया हुआ है, सिर्फ इनकी हिम्मत के आगे। क्योंकि इन्होंने सोचा कि एक लाइन में मेरा रास्ता नहीं बन पा रहा है, मैं पढ़ाई की लाइन में, नौकरी की लाइन में चल नहीं पाऊँगा, मेरे पास ऐसी डिग्री नहीं है। तो उन्होंने अपनी सोच को और अपने जहन को एक दूसरी तरफ डाला और जब उन्होंने अपने जहन को इस तरफ लगाया तो कुदरत ने फिर उनको इतना शानदार इनाम दिया कि आज दुनिया के अंदर, आज दुनिया के बड़े बड़े शहरों में ओबराय होटल के नाम से सारे इस तरह के होटल मौजूद हैं और पूरी एक चेन मौजूद है। और इसकी बुनियाद डालने वाले यही ओबराय हैं जो किसी और लाइन में जाना चाहते थे मगर जा नहीं सके। कुदरत ने उनका दिमाग और उनका जहन एक बिज़नेस की तरफ मोड़ा और फिर वो कहाँ से कहाँ पहुँच गए। इसीलिए हिम्मत और हौसला अपने अंदर रखिए। एक लाइन में आप तरक्की नहीं कर रहे हैं, कोई बात नहीं, गिर गए हैं, छोड़ दीजिए, गिर जाने दीजिए अपने आप को। हिम्मत से दोबारा खड़े होइए और जब आप दोबारा हिम्मत से खड़े होकर किसी और लाइन में अपनी किस्मत आजमाई करेंगे, कुदरत की मदद आपके साथ आएगी। ये मेरी नसीहत है बच्चों के लिए।
Thank you, Iman Sir, for giving the rapturous start to the seminar by the recitation of beautiful verses from Holy Quran. Now I request our Honorable Vice Chancellor to felicitate our Chief Guest, Mr. Zafar Sheikh, with a bouquet of flowers and hamper. Again, I request our VC Sir to felicitate our guest of honor as well, Mr. Brad Nation, with a bouquet of flowers and hamper. Now I request Professor Reshma Nasreen, Dean of School of Management and Business Studies, to felicitate our Honorable VC. Thank you, ma'am. I take this opportunity to convey my warmest greetings to all the dignitaries and welcome you all to the International Seminar on Entrepreneurship and Innovation as Career Opportunity. We are indeed grateful that you have taken out time from your busy schedule to be with us on this occasion. We feel greatly honored by your presence. I can assure you that your presence here is a great source of motivation and encouragement to the entire department. I'm going to give a very brief introduction to the theme, which is entrepreneurship and innovation. Entrepreneurship has become a key driver for boosting the economy and creating new businesses and converting innovative and outstanding ideas and inventions into commercial products. Entrepreneurs are frequently thought of as a national assets to be cultivated, motivated, and remunerated to the greatest possible extent. Entrepreneurs can change the way we live and work. If successful, they may improve our standard of living and in addition may create wealth with their entrepreneur ventures. Additionally, entrepreneur increases employment opportunities and contributes to national growth in terms of increased income, high tax revenue, etc. Entrepreneur, being an important agent of change, always search for better opportunities, innovative ideas, processes, technologies, market, etc., and provide solution to the existing problems by creating new products and services. This results in an improved quality of life, improved morale, and greater economic freedom. Developing the entrepreneurship culture in a nation is not an easy task. It requires collective efforts with dedication and devotion of all the stakeholders, including education system, research and development sector, planners, policy makers, etc. This seminar aims at highlighting the importance of innovation in entrepreneurship, its value for longevity of a business. The seminar shall also emphasize on the opportunity to innovate and makes the life more comfortable and to provide the solutions that can be evolved to make it better, easier and more useful be. With this, now I invite our HOD, Dr. Sana Beg, who is our greatest source of motivation, to deliver the welcome note.
Thank you, Khushbu. Very good morning to one and all present here. Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir. Chief guest of the day, Mr. Zafar Sheikh, founder Cambay Consultancy. Guest of honor, Mr. Brad Nation, CEO Cambay Healthcare. Dean Reshma Nasreen ma'am. My respected faculty colleagues, dear students, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure and a privilege to welcome you all to this international seminar this morning, which is on entrepreneurship and innovation as career opportunity. The Department of Management is celebrating the 25 years of its journey. We are celebrating this year as the Silver Jubilee year for the department, and it's a very proud moment for all of us. I'm happy to share this. The Department of Management started in the year 1998 with a small batch of just 60 students and MBA program. And today in the 25th year, we have more than 1,200 students with us. We have increased the number of programs that we are offering, and wish to continue that journey further. Not many are aware that VC sir was instrumental in the establishment of the department then, and now under his leadership we are celebrating the Silver Jubilee. So thank you so much, sir. This seminar today is the first among the series of events that we plan to organize throughout the year. Tomorrow also we have one program, which is education to entrepreneurship. We have a financial literacy workshop also tomorrow afternoon. So a lot of events are lined up throughout the year, which we will be celebrating, and this will eventually strengthen our department. So we hope and pray that with the blessings and support of our Vice Chancellor, we would go from strength to strength, inshallah. And now coming to the theme, actually the government of India is also laying a lot of stress on entrepreneurship. And this seminar is being organized in association with the Institutions Innovation Council, which is Ministry of Education initiative. And tomorrow also the Education to Entrepreneurship program is being organized. Primarily what we see is that in the last couple of years we have seen a lot of disruptions in the business. Pandemic obviously was one. Artificial intelligence is another thing that is causing a lot of business disruptions. But then this disruption also leads to opportunities for many. So entrepreneurs, we have a long thing to do, and for the key to being a successful entrepreneur is that your response should be original to the threats and the challenges that are posed by the environment. So there are many students amongst us who are dreaming to become entrepreneurs, and I'm sure the experiences that will be shared by the chief guest as well as the guest of honor would be an inspiration to these young students who plan and dream to become entrepreneurs. We are extremely fortunate to have you, sir. You people took out time for us, and we are indeed very grateful that your sharing of experiences and giving an international perspective of business would surely be helpful to us. With these few words, I take leave. I welcome you all once again to this international seminar. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for that heartwarming welcome and for bringing your energy, ideas, and expertise to our department and to us as well. Now, I take honor in inviting our honorable and dignified Vice Chancellor, Professor M. Ashfar Alam.
Thank you very much. The chief guest of today's function, Dr. Zafar Sheikh, the founder of Cambay Consultancy, Houston, USA. The guest of honor is Brand Notion, CEO of Cambay Healthcare, Houston, Texas. Dean and DSW, Professor Reshma Nashe, Dr. Sana Beg, Head of the Department, and all the activists of Innovation Incubation Cell, Javed Saab and other faculty members, dear students. See, this topic is very close to my heart, entrepreneurship and innovation as a career opportunity. So you all know that we have a very strong institution, Innovation Council. That council we started from Department of Computer Science, but it is for whole university, and the Ministry of Education and AICT and UGC, they are doing for every year assessment how many activity you did for the Innovation Incubation Cell and all. So Alhamdulillah, Jamia Hamdard got a 4.5 star out of 5 star, and that certificate issued by Secretary Government of India. It is a very prestigious Innovation Incubation Council, and I want that MBA student should participate to our IIC, and we have recently set up a Center for Innovation, Incubation and Entrepreneurship in the Nano building. We have wonderful 5-star facility. You please visit our Innovation Incubation Cell. So, you know, the Government of India has put in the new education policy that entrepreneurship is a very important aspect, part of this curriculum, and you cannot, you know, always depend on job. You should be a job creator, in fact, because if you see IIM Ahmedabad, they have already started last 25 years back as the Innovation Incubation Council, and every year they invited even the villagers, please come and show your innovation. And that innovation they have to put for patenting, and they help to villager for the product form, and they create many companies. So majority of the IIM boys, if you see their stories, you will find they start a tea business or a simple fruit business, how fruit will be packaged and sell it. Even there's a lot of example in the city of Patna, where the IIM student have started, you know, cut the vegetable and packed it and sell it to the market. Because after 1992, India has opened their, you know, whole business is, you know, the policy, and the present government is also follow that Manmohan Singh policy of open business. Open market, not only you have to depend, because there's a lot of competition. You have seen recently that Google and Twitter, they are recruiting thousands, and they are also lay off for 50,000 jobs and all. So the market is always like this. So for that, India feel that, like Chinese and other, I have visited Iranian Innovation Center where students are running in Taiwan, in South Korea. So a lot of innovation incubations are doing wonderfully, and the students after passing the management degree or engineering degree, and they are became a billionaire. You see the story of, you know, I'm not listening. One kabaddi man, he's a Chinese, and now he's a top 10 billionaire in the world. He went to UK and studied there, and lot of stories you will find in especially the management graduates in IIMs and other management institutes. Very few are joining to industry, like initially, you know, when you talk about 70s, 80s, they do join the public sector as a management trainee job or a manager job. But now nobody is interested to join as a public sector management trainee for the job of 1 lakh rupees. So in this area have a lot of risk also, but if you take risk, you will get good results also. So this part is lacking in Jamia Hamdard. So we feel that we should have a very strong innovation incubation center, and we have created a separate society, and we put one faculty of management in our governing board also, so that we can do lot of seminar, conferences, and we will also promote students to do some kind of, they have to start their own entrepreneur. How you have to create a company, because you all know that in India the corporate ministry has going for a company law. There is a proprietorship company, there is a limited company, there is a corporate company, and after that how Adani and Ambani are working because of market. So people will buy a share and all. So there is a phase of companies. So in that innovation incubation center, we will give you how you can form a company. Sometime if you did a company under Society Act registration in the section 24, so you have to create a non-profit company. Or if you want to start a profit company, you have to register under the corporate ministry. So these, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs will issue a DIM number for directors, and that you can create a n number of companies. In India, mostly, some people are creating companies and they are misusing after that. But now Modi government is emphasis that students should become entrepreneurs. Even as Imam Sahab already mentioned, what is the value of business. So even when Prophet was alive, he also advised them to do tijarat, as if you do business. So business definitely have, you can become more easily to become more rich in a very short period of time. So India and the Indian company, the new education policy has a cultural shift from the traditional teaching to for entrepreneurship and innovation. Cell is one of the important aspect even in the course curriculum of undergraduate and postgraduate program. So we are very keen that at least 30% students should join for an entrepreneur program. So try to develop a small company, do with partnership, and I think Javed Sheikh Saab will, Zafar Sheikh Saab will give you more idea, because he has for last 25 years he was in US, and how he developed a company and how he do consultancy, because whole world is now a village for business. No need that American, they have an office in India, an Indian company have office in US, and they are also open this member of the stock market in USA or UK and also. The business prospect, if there is a slump in China or US, definitely India will suffer. So these are the major issues, and very soon we will do it every month lecture series for how to create a company, to whom, what is the role of, you already studied in your management program, what is the role of HR manager, what is the role of marketing, sales. These lot of area, I'm not basically a management person, but because of experience, we know that these are the very important areas. I'm very thankful to HOD and Dean for arranging an international seminar in a very short period of 2-3 days. But I will advise them to do it in a way where we can invite more CMDs or the director of the company, so that you can involve FICCI also, FICCI, SHM. They are doing a lot of activities of innovation incubation sector. Since new education policy is already adopted, and this is a major area, every university should have innovation incubation center. But that center have participation of every school. So being a management, your job is consulting. Consulting job is the major job in the management, and you will be the heart of the company. Without you will give the supply chain or CRM idea, nobody can run a company, whether it is a pharmaceutical company or a Unani company or a software company. So since they have invited me, I'm thankful to them, and I have some certain meeting is already going on in the VC office. So thank you very much, both the chief guest and guest of honor, for inviting me to recite this function. But generally, presidential address is after the chief guest and guest of honor speech. But again, I congratulate all the organizer for arranging this program in a very short period of time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable insights. Okay. Now I have a pleasure to invite Mr. Brad Nation, our guest of honor. He is the Chief Executive Officer at Cambay Healthcare. He has more than 2 decades of experience in healthcare industries. He is a veteran and expert in healthcare industry. So please, sir, share your valuable thoughts and experience with us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. So, as I look around, I see a lot of bright faces, and I'm thrilled to be here, so thank you very much. I think we may be might be a little turned around in order because the entrepreneur is right here, but I can certainly talk about the fundamentals of effectively running a business and sort of set the stage, right? So I want to start with a question. How many of you have ever had the thought, gosh, that would make a good business? Had an idea of a product or a service and you thought, I wish I could turn that into a business. Show of hands, anybody thought? I think we've all had that thought, right? And then you wonder, how do I do that? How do I make that happen? You know, I think, so we'll talk a little bit about that, but you know, one of the things that I want to really start with is that one of the number one reasons, or one of the top reasons certainly, that people don't pursue that idea and turn it into a business is fear of failure. But failure is the engine that drives success and drives innovation. Failure is what drives innovation. If something doesn't work at first, you try again and try a different way. So, the fundamentals. The fundamentals. I won't get into a whole lot of theory, and I may not stick a whole lot to the slideshow, so please excuse me. But you know, the fundamentals are this, from a very high level. Business is the formation of an ecosystem. It's an ecosystem that's organized to effectively deploy a service or a product, that great idea that you have. And that ecosystem includes all of the fundamentals that you're currently studying. So what would that include? Management, of course. Finance, accounting. Of course, you have a business to make money, so you've got to be able to count it. Logistics. How do you deploy the services or goods that you thought about? How do you sort of manage that deployment, right? It's through systems. So how many of you are studying computer science or some sort of information technology? And then, systems and administration, obviously. And then, some might argue, and I think I'm a little biased because my background is in marketing. Sorry. My background is in marketing, so some may argue that marketing is one of the most important pieces of that, right? Why would somebody say that? Marketing is the effective communication of the product or business that you're looking to start. It's taking your business to market. And in order to effectively market, the cornerstone of that is communication. So, communication is so important to entrepreneurship because it's vital to have the effective ability to convey your idea about a product or service to the market. I want to quote from Steve Jobs, famous CEO of Apple. Marketing is about values. It's a complicated and noisy world, and we're not going to get a chance to get people to remember much about us. No company is. So we have to be really clear about what we want them to know about us. And in a global market, that communication takes on many faces, right? How do we effectively communicate to a global market? So you'll see sort of sketches here. I'm sure this is stuff that you all are currently learning or have learned and are perfecting. I think this is one of my takeaways is entrepreneurship refers to the process of creating new business, bearing all types of risk and purpose for profit maximization and wealth maximization, right? So that includes all of the standards that you would think: innovation, creativity, risks, and uncertainty, which fall in that fear of failure category, and then profit making. So the reasons for entrepreneurship. So you have that idea, right, that you want to take to market. You want to be your own boss. Who doesn't want to be their own boss? Although I have a really great boss, so. A desire for a better work-life balance. The scope to work is more creative. There's a litany of reasons for entrepreneurship. Sorry. Oh, okay. So, there's a million reasons for entrepreneurship, and the scope of entrepreneurship, includes, the breadth of new products and services, new production techniques. One of the great things that we've seen in the past probably 20 to 30 years in terms of entrepreneurship is taking a product that currently exists and elevating it or changing it in some way. I think 40 years ago, if you think about it, a cup of coffee was a cup of coffee. And a company called Starbucks elevated and changed what a cup of coffee is. You can use that example in many, many different ways. New operating practices, new distribution methods. In the US, we had a very large company called Blockbuster Video that rented movies. You could go to a store and rent movies. But due to their probably size and failure to innovate, they were overtaken by another little company called Netflix. And Netflix completely changed the way that we access entertainment. There's new means of informing the customer, of course, new communication methods, and new ways to manage relationships between organizations. So what are the functions of entrepreneurship? Discuss that just a little bit, but innovation, managerial skill, decision-making, risk-taking. And I think that really is one that I want to underscore. It's risk-taking. It goes back to that fear of failure. You have to be able to and embrace the idea of taking a risk. Dynamic function, gap-filling organization. Creative function, right? I think that what's underplayed a lot in business is creativity and response to the market. When you see a gap in the market and you're looking to fill it with a product or a service, get as creative as you want. and economic function, of course, purposeful activity, coping with failure, which goes back to what I discussed earlier. And then there's a whole other list. So what is the meaning of an entrepreneur? I think we all feel like we know what the meaning of an entrepreneur is, but it's defined as someone who has the ability or desire to establish and administer and succeed in a startup venture, doing with risk entitled to make profits. And of course, there's a whole other list of meanings: visionary, creative, and innovative, courage of risk takers. But it's really organizing around your idea and then convincing a host of other people to help you organize. I don't think that I don't think an entrepreneur has ever done it by himself or by herself. So it's really, it goes back to the communication, effectively communicating that idea and developing the leadership skills and motivation quality to organize around your product or service. Team building is part and parcel of that. And then managerial and operational capacity. So the entrepreneurial mindset, I think it's a lot of the things that I just discussed. Critical thinking certainly is one of them. Flexibility, adaptability, and the ability to, again, hit a roadblock and go a different direction. Get creative about the direction that you're going in. You've got to get comfortable with risk. Of course, initiative and self-reliance is very important. Opportunity recognition is very important. And this is really part of what's an art. You have to be able to identify very quickly market opportunities that exist and take advantage of those. And respond to the market. In my former case that I was mentioning, Blockbuster Video, didn't respond to the way the market was going and no longer exists. And then communication and collaboration. So the role of entrepreneurs in the economy, well, we wouldn't have an economy if we didn't have entrepreneurs. So really the foundation. Capital formulations, improvement per capita income, of course, generation of employment, But also, you know, the more, I guess, the broader, you know, improving our lives, improving the living standard, economic independence, innovation, et cetera. You know, if it weren't for some of the entrepreneurs that we all know that developed products, services, goods, Facebook, right, Instagram, we would not communicate the way we communicate now. So entrepreneurs can change our lives. And then, of course, the types of entrepreneurship: small business, scalable startup entrepreneurship, you know, and then you get larger, joint stock and social entrepreneurship. So what I'd like to do is just take a second and take a survey of who I, of course, have my experiences in healthcare. The successful delivery of healthcare professionals across the United States to the patients and their families that need health care. So that's been my passion. I know that healthcare is probably some of you are studying healthcare. Some may be studying computer science, some may be studying management. I'd like to really answer any questions you may have. Any questions you may have around Okay, perfect. Okay. We'll take questions later. All right. So, you know what? I would probably just wrap up and introduce our next guest. The characteristics of entrepreneurship are very easy to recognize. It's the ability to take risk, of course, innovation, being flexible, being visionary, having a leadership quality and a mentality, and being open-minded, getting to know your customer, and again, that very important piece of being able to communicate what your product or service is, how it's going to enhance lives, and the ability to successfully market and deploy that product. So thank you very much for having me. Oh, sure. Yeah, sure.
Sir, as we know, before introducing a new business to a market, we do a deep research. Like we investigate about the nature of the market, our competitors, our needs and requirement of the community. But even though after these factors, business fails. So how can we eliminate this risk of failing? As it being an entrepreneur, it will be like a bad impact on me that if I'm giving a business which is failing, so nobody will concern me next time for the business.
So again, failure is really part of the game. So
Yeah.
so you have to be able to take that risk and absorb that failure and learn from it, right? I think that sometimes I call it paralysis by analysis. So you can overanalyze and then end up being stuck and not moving forward. So you have to be able to take those risks and move. And if you fail, be able to quickly pivot.
Yeah, like we should have a second strategy to overcome that.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your experience, your knowledge with us. I hope all our students are very enlightened by your thoughts. Sir has very well said that earlier a cup of coffee was just a cup of coffee. Now we all recognize by Starbucks or by barista. Now I would like to invite Mr. Zafar Sheikh, our honorable chief guest. He is a founding member of Cambridge Healthcare. He's a serial entrepreneur with stakes in IT healthcare, oil oil and gas. He's an angel investor and also worked as a solution architect in technologies like financial planning and budgeting, business intelligence, supply chain management, Microsoft, etc. with the companies like IBM, Lucent Technologies and Lockheed Martin. Sir, hoping to get new insights from your words.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. So thanks for coming in. I see a lot of students, young and energetic, and that's very good to see. Thanks to the management and arranging this in very short time. I think we tried to arrange this in last 5 or 6 days, so that was pretty fast. And also glad to see 2 women in the leadership team actually. That tells quite a bit about this university. And coming from me, from a woman majority home, I have 2 daughters and a wife. So you can imagine what I go through every day. So we have the topic, my story, and it's very difficult to tell your story in a non-private setting because I'm 54 now, so that's a long story, and success takes time. It doesn't happen overnight, and where most of the people fail is anticipating success to happen in very short time. And success is a journey. It is not, it is not an end point like, you achieved it. There is no end point where you can come and say, hey, I achieved it all. There is no, people who are successful never say that actually. And they enjoy the journey rather than the end point. So, essentially how I started was my parents never went to school. I was the first generation to go to school, and fortunately we went to a very good school. It was an English medium school. That helped because language of communication is very important. A lot of people don't realize that. I tell everybody it's very, very important to know what language of communication is, because not all languages can handle the current demands of business. There is a business language, and there are other languages for home and for other things actually. But very important is, and if you look at the English language, the vocabulary is added every year. More than 1 million books are published every year. That is what you go to for knowledge. And key to success is knowledge. And if you have only 5,000 or 10,000 books published in a book, and if you know only that language, your domain is only 10,000 books. But if your domain is millions of books, you can expand. And with advent of internet, there is no end to the knowledge. It's like millions and billions of pages actually. The amount you can get grasp, the more you can, the less it is actually. So if you ask me one thing which can change your life, it's not about feeling successful, it's about being happy in what you do. And success is happiness. So, like if you look if simplistically you say money is happiness, then there are billionaires, there are millionaires, and then people make hundreds of thousands, and people make 60,000, and they can all be happy, provided they know what they are doing, they are confident about it, and they are happy about what they are doing, and that corresponds to knowledge. So I always say, to be happy, you should be knowledgeable. If you don't have knowledge, you will always be miserable and unhappy. So that is my goal of life, to be happy and enjoy what I do every day. And what I enjoy every day is work, because a lot of people tell me to exit my business and take the cash and sit home. But I evaluated that, and that is not my personality. I cannot sit at home and be happy around money. It's, money doesn't make me happy. But, a lot of people think that, to start with, of course it is money. When you are young, you don't have money, you want to make money. That is the driving force initially. But as you go on, you will figure out what you are. Everybody is different. Not everybody can be same. And, I'll tell you, like some people, so I used to be a slow learner, okay? Some people used to, some people can learn a subject within a year, and some people can learn the same subject in 3 years. Never get demotivated if you take longer time to understand things. Actually, a lot of time when you take longer time, you are trying to go into depth, or you might be a slow learner, which is okay. The goal is to learn, not to, not to determine how fast you can learn. Never, because, in schools, that is what happens. Somebody who scores 3% is more than you, and you get motivated. So you get demotivated if you score 3% less. Never, never measure yourself on percentages, because they are not going to matter. I was with two of my friends yesterday, and they were much smarter than me at school. So, we are still friends, and it has, this has nothing, score has no relevance in real life actually. What really matters is continuous education. Lot of kids, they stop learning at 24. And, actually there is a research. Most of the people, they learn 90%, I don't remember the number, 90% until the age of 6 or 10. And after that, in their entire life, they only learn 5 to 10%. So this is very pathetic actually, think about it. Because, and when we are saying 90%, think about it, how much time do we take to learn ABCD? We take a couple of years. And we do it day in, day out. And as a kid, we are 100% focused on our parents, what they are talking. We never get distracted. And, we are always, looking at our parents and trying to learn from them. It takes a couple of years to learn ABCD or whatever language we speak. It takes few years. But eventually, when we come to, when we come to college, we think we should learn something in 6 months. And that is probably more complex than ABCD actually. So there is a perception in the market that, like do it fast. There is no pace. Don't worry about the world. Do it at your pace and continue to do it. That is more important. So I always say the number of iteration you can do in your life, there is only one life. Number of iteration you can repeat will make you more successful. And the more number of iteration you repeat, the more you will fail and the more you will succeed. So if you do 10 iterations, you will be successful 5 times and you will fail 5 times. If you do 100 iterations, you will be successful 50 times and you will fail 50 times. So look at it, nobody will see your failure, but 50 times success is better than 5 times. So essentially, what makes you success is knowledge and strategy. Because, you guys are in college right now and you are thinking of, you studied entrepreneurship and you might jump into entrepreneurship, but I'll tell you, to be entrepreneur, there are 2 things which are a must. One is knowledge about the subject, okay? Whichever area so I got into IT. I started, IT company after 10 years of graduating, after becoming expert in IT. So either you have to be expert in the subject or you have to be an investor. You should have money to hire experts or you be expert yourself. You can't just say, I don't have money, I don't have knowledge, and I'm going to start business. Of 100 restaurants, is a very simplistic business. Everybody thinks, you take, a flour for 50 paisa and then you sell it for 100 rupees. But, 97 of the 100 restaurants fails in America. And why do they fail? Is because of bad execution. And also, when you go to a restaurant, not every restaurant make good food, so they are not expert at their subject. That is what expertise is simplistically. So when I started IT consulting, I already consulted with Lockheed Martin, I was with IBM, I was leading the business intelligence practice for IBM, and I was running the whole show for them. So started as a kid, as I said, my parents never went to school. We were 7 brothers and sisters. We had 1 bicycle to share. Most of the time we used to go everywhere walking. We never even used buses because we didn't even have money for buses. So if somebody tells you that you need money to be successful, don't believe them. So I always say there are 2 things. You need money or you need knowledge, okay? What is more valuable? I think knowledge is more valuable. So, I had no money to start with. When I went to USA, Lockheed Martin invited me to USA. I went there to work for them, and they paid for my plane fare, they paid for my stay, and they covered everything actually. And I didn't had, even $100 to take with me to USA. So it's not money actually, it's the knowledge which is very important. And a lot of people will demotivate you that you have a disadvantage. If I have to value your brain, it must be worth $100 million. And how much can you invest in a business? 1 million, 2 million? You can't invest $100 million, like not many of, I also haven't invested $100 million in one business. And I'm a serial entrepreneur now, I have several businesses. So the story is, you start, but one thing was, very consistent, which I noticed, none of my friends who were scoring more marks than me, and I always looked up to them, and they are very good friends of mine right now also. The only difference between them and me was I did continuous education, and I was very passionate about studying. So if I have a weekend, I would study for 15 hours. That is my vacation, rather than meeting friends or talking or having fun with others. That is all useless actually. You are doing disservice to your intellectual capability. It's not that I'm not social. I am social, but that doesn't mean I'm going to give more than 1 hour to my friends. That would be waste of time. And you have to distribute life in, it should be all-round life. It can't be only one thing. But for me, coming from poor background, for me to be successful was very important. The level of success was never something I thought about. My first business became successful, and then I used the money to start the second business. Now I have 16 businesses which I own. Some are in incubation phases. Some of them are very successful. Cambe Healthcare is one of our most successful venture. We crossed 50 million in less than 5 years, and quite. It also. So I don't know anything about healthcare. Okay, so now I was an investor. Okay, I was not a knowledge person. So either it has to be knowledge, which was in my first business as an IT professional, and I used to consult for Oracle at a level where customers were paying for me $25,000 a week to go and solve their problems. And if we solved the problem within a day, that was it. They still paid $25,000 for a day actually. So that is the level of expertise I achieved, and that is what, so whatever you do, you have to be the best. You can't be mediocre and think that you are going to be successful. You are competing with others. Think about it. You are competing with others. You can't be saying that, I just know this and I will get in. And most of the people think business is, having fun. Other people will work and I will enjoy. No, that's not it. I still work 12 hours. I have slowed down a little bit. So I still work 12 hours a day. Looking at different aspects of things. There are changes every day, there are processes, there is legal, there is, Brad spoke about all the aspects of business, and I saw the list. It was I never realized that that is the number of lists you have in business actually. That was very well laid out. So basically it's not, it's not like, looking at the list, you do it every day. So when I started, coming back to the Cambay Healthcare, when I started Cambay Healthcare, so these are two stark examples. I started working with Brad. Brad has more than 2 decades in healthcare industry. He's an expert, and he sits on several boards for healthcare industry, and he's very renowned on healthcare. So together we formed the partnership to build this success. So essentially at different stages of life it is different thing, but what is common is knowledge. Okay, if you don't have knowledge, you are bound to make mistakes. People who don't have knowledge, they always take decisions, and their decisions are bad. Everybody thinks that they did an engineering degree or an MBA degree or a BBA degree and they can take decision. But the breadth of knowledge you have is different for everybody. You are competing with everyone else. So every day when I wake up in the morning, I think why I am so backward compared to all the billionaires in the world is because I have lesser knowledge than them. So I'm trying to acquire more. That should be your goal actually. And you have to follow successful people. Look at them. Most, like, I follow Warren Buffett because now I'm an investor. He's also an investor. Warren Buffett has more than 100 billion in assets, but he only had 1 billion by the age of 50. So 99% of his money he made after 50. A lot of people, a lot of kids, what they want is they want to become Zuckerberg, but Zuckerberg only happens one person in one generation. Okay, or Larry Brin in Google. Those are the only 2 guys. If you look, majority of the people, they are much lower than that, but they are also successful. They are also enjoying. They are also contributing. Another important thing is contributing to society. If you are thinking you are going to make money and have fun, I can bet you will be a failure. What is it is, once you are successful, you are thinking about people as a whole in your company, and the most important thing is integrity. You have to have the integrity to be successful. You cannot make biased decisions. A lot of people, they think, they are going to get their brother in the company and he will run it. I can bet they will fail your company. I don't have any relatives, and believe me, I have hundreds of relatives. What we are good at is producing kids. So, I have hundreds of relatives. I make sure nobody comes in. Even if I get somebody, I just get them for training and tell them to go find a job for themselves, not stay in my company. I only believe on professional, and my relatives are professionals who work in company. And my friends are also those. I enjoy, so if I meet my friends, I'll go to Las Vegas and meet with my, employees. And we don't talk about work because they are already expert at their work. We just talk about other things, relationship, because what is important is relationship and trust. If you don't have that, knowledge is useless actually. So integrity is very important. A lot of people don't realize it. But if you ask me all this at age of 30, I cannot define it. Maybe I was doing it, but I could not define it. So don't think that, whatever I'm saying is right. I might be saying a lot of wrong things also. But I can bet one thing was very common, knowledge. I never stopped taking knowledge, and today also I make sure I study 5 hours every day because that's my passion. So also I will tell you, there is only one difference between animal and human beings. We can study, okay? Animals can do everything else what we can do. So if you don't want to become an animal or not be treated as an animal, please study every day. Because this is little extreme this is for the kids. If you realize this, you will be happier, okay? So I think, I wrote some few things, so creativity, strategy. So everybody has knowledge, all my engineering friends, they were scoring more than me, and they became engineers. But what I noticed is they didn't do continuous education, and they didn't acquire other knowledge, because business means, like the 16 things that were listed here actually. So for you to have, like when I started my first company, I was recruiting, I was selling, I was invoicing, I was reading legal contracts. So, I was filing tax returns, because you don't have money. So you have to be a multitasker. That is very important. A lot of people think that, oh, of course you can be expert at one thing and you can hire other people, but you need money then for that. But if you just want to start yourself and you don't have much resources, knowledge will really help. And acquiring those that subject knowledge at that point in time is very important. So if you realize, okay, you don't know this, you start acquiring that day, immediately on that day. When I started, there was no Google and YouTube. If Google and YouTube were there, it would be much easier, because we had to go to library to read books. But with advent of internet, my acquisition of knowledge became much faster, because you can just get targeted knowledge. So that is increasing. Also, what I noticed is knowledge in late 90s on internet and early 2000 was only good knowledge. But now, there is, on the same subject, there is good, mediocre, bad. And now the challenge is so I would have to read 3 articles to determine which one is the right before I could do, but of course I always try to do 5 articles before I make a conclusion on that subject, because, if you read 5 people, everybody has a different dimension. And the beauty of life is the more dimensions you can add to your life, the more beautiful it will be actually. So, to get that dimension, you have to study different people actually. And that is where diversity also comes in. Actually, diversity is also helpful. My father was in ONGC, and, we had a very, very diversified, society, people from every state. And you won't believe, everybody in India coming from different states have different characteristics. So, meeting people from different states, you learn different things, observe different people, they have different characteristics. And even, human beings are tribal actually. All tribes have different characteristics. So you have to understand what the variation is, what is the difference, but never underestimate yourself, because everyone has gotten the same brain, okay? If you are not using it, it's your problem, it's not someone else's problem. Don't blame others for your failure. And I told you, I just put a number, 100 million. You already have a $100 million asset. It's up to you how to use it actually. So, what I'll do is I'll make it a little interactive, and if you have any questions, please do ask me. What was my net worth must be probably $100,000. First I made some money because I had a family to feed, so I should have some reserve. So what I did was I saved some money, kept it in the bank, and invested some in business. So that question has a lot of different aspects. So if you start a business, you stop earning. So I was already making good money, and I stopped earning. So that is a full stop. And then you start spending money. So you are spending from your reserves. That is the risk. Now say after 3 years or 5 years the business fails, your bank balance depletes to 0, and you haven't made anything for 5 years. So you start from 0 again. So that's a very risky thing to do actually. So when I started my first business, I was doing business 24/7. Even in my dreams, I was worried. If I fail, what will happen actually? So what that did was kept me involved. And I was Also, when you are doing business, a lot of people come to you, they tell you something. One thing very important is to listen to everybody, because people will criticize you, and I am a very good listener. If you criticize me, I can listen every word of it actually, and I will analyze it and try to improve. Whatever I can. Some things you cannot improve immediately, but if you can, you should actually. That is how we will grow to the next level. That was a good question. Yes, please. So actually, you should get into job first, because once you get into the job, you will acquire a business knowledge. Right now, you don't. Coming out of college and starting business doesn't make sense unless until your father is a businessman and he is running your business in the back. Okay, that is not entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is you should have knowledge of the subject, or you should have investment from your dad. Of course, you wouldn't unless you inherited some money from your grandparents or something like that. But what is important is, to go to a job, do a specific job of area which you are interested in. And I can tell you, always try to go to newer technologies. That is the best place to be in actually. So we as a company started doing cloud in 2010. And we did security in 2014, and so we tried to do things ahead of time actually. And even healthcare, we started in 2017, which was 2018, which was ahead of pandemic, because when pandemic hit, that is when the requirements went up the roof actually. So you just have to work hard and see. So to answer your question, I would advise most of the students, they go and experience the industry. Once you become an industry expert, you should not take 20 years. You can, become an expert in 5 to 8 years actually. That is when you get into business. By that time, you will also have money. Did I answer your question? Okay. So I was never an entrepreneur in India, so that's a tough question. But I can tell you, it's very easy to be an entrepreneur in US compared to India, because in US everything is predefined. There is no government interference. I have never seen a government department till date in last 21 years. So processes are very, very well defined in USA, and we have a very beautiful system in US. It's not the perfect, but it is as good as you can see. So there is definitely a difference, but I see a lot of people getting successful in India too. I think it's about your subject knowledge and adding value. Everybody is doing the same business. So what I started was what IBM was doing actually. So I was with IBM, and whatever IBM was doing, I started on my own, okay? So what I did different, because I have to add value to the thing they are doing, because they are big, they have a lot of money, they have excellent resources. So you have to see what is the gap, what you can do little bit different than them to go to the customer and tell, this is the value I add which IBM doesn't add. And there is something every time, because what happens is large companies take time to change. As a small company, you have a very, very advantageous position. You can change in a day. But large companies, they have to decide, they have to discuss. They can't be changing every day or every month. or every few months also. If they decide to get in, it takes a year or so. So you can take that advantage actually. So don't think that large companies have an advantage against you. Actually, smaller companies, and now I think India also has the something called MMSC or something, something, they are giving favor to small companies to get government contracts. That's a very good thing actually. We have that in US also. So actually, how I got into healthcare is, we met somebody who was selling healthcare, and I did not meet them. One of my, vice presidents, they just hired that guy. We started, and then we came to know about it, and we found that it's a very good area to be. Of course, healthcare controls almost, I would say, 20% of US GDP. It's a $4 trillion market in USA, so that is always a good area to be in, and that is how I stumbled into it actually. I also do oil and gas. My father was in ONGC, so I just met few people through his acquaintances, and I invested in oil and gas actually. So we do corrosion control, a specific niche area in oil and gas for long distance pipelines. So basically you have to meet the right people so I'm an investor now. What we look for is if I have to invest in somebody, they have to be expert in that area. You can't invest on learners, because a lot of people think, oh, I will work hard and you invest in me. Nobody's going to invest. You should be expert of that product or that industry. Expert doesn't mean you have to be expert, but you should have a complete knowledge, and you should be able to adapt to new changes. Anyone else? Okay, we'll give her a chance. Let's give a woman. Yeah. So definitely I'm looking for investments every day. I get proposals every day, but I probably invest in 1 out of 100, because sometimes they might be good, but it doesn't fit my portfolio. Anybody who comes with an idea, it doesn't matter actually. For me, it has to make business sense. If it makes business sense, it's it's going to be win-win for everybody. Yes, please. So actually, Brad is the right person to talk about that. But what I have learned is, public administration in healthcare, hospital administration. Okay, so hospital administration is a very complex science actually, and there is so much scope there. If you do it right, you will have a very, very successful career. And in India, healthcare has just started, and it's going to multiply 100 times actually. So the industry is going to go multifold. So see, healthcare is dependent on how much money people have, and India's GDP is increasing every day. There are so many young people, and they are going to get money. They will invest in healthcare, and hospitals, they never are in loss. They always make money. So, and hospital, usually, a US hospital is like a 5-star hotel actually. If you go in, you feel like you are in Taj, and you can order from the menu, and everything is like extra clean. So they deploy a lot of staff to keep that there actually. And they have, like 1 nurse per patient in US. Is that right, Brett?
Depending on how sick the patient is, but yeah.
So the nurse ratio is very high per patient. As you know, people who are getting sick come to hospital, and if they have more money, they will spend more and the hospital will invest more. So there is always a competition from different hospitals. So hospital administration is an amazing area to be in this day actually. It's a very good area to be in. Did I answer your question? Okay. Anyone else? Where are the entrepreneurs? Yes, please. So actually everything was a challenge, I can't identify one thing because it's evolving. So you do one thing, then the other problem comes up. Is that right, Brad? We are facing that every day. So what happens is, so you have so many. So to be a success, to have a successful business, because you are competing with so many different companies, you have team play. The team play is a good word. So you have so many people working in the organization. All should have a common goal. So the leader's task is to keep all of them aligned to go in a specific direction. What happens is every individual is different. So chances are, everybody will steer the company in a different direction because they have their specialty, and every human being is like, our characteristic is we want to drive people towards us. So that is our nature. So, for a leader, what you want to do is keep everything together, everybody together, and have them follow a common goal actually. That's an everyday task, and if you stop doing that, the business will start going in negative actually, like not negative in terms of immediately, but there will be negatives in the company. So that is the biggest challenge. But when you start, you are learning a lot of things, like suddenly you want to learn the invoicing software, and if you are from IT, how do you learn that? So learning new things is, when you start the business, learning new things is very important actually. And implementing it on the, immediately, you can't wait. Plus, whenever you do implementation, it's not perfect. Don't, I know people who try to create something perfect. You will never be perfect. Human beings are not perfect. You just have to keep doing it as long as it's moving forward. So in business, I always say, if you are generating revenue, don't worry about the perfection. And if the revenue is going up, don't worry about the perfection. I think it has been a very long session, very interesting, and I really like the questions you guys had. There were some very interesting questions from you. Yes, please.
So as you said that many investors would like to invest on export Indian on learning. We are on the learning phase, right? And you told that before getting into the business, you should start doing your job, take 3 years to 5 years. And idea can completely change everything. So if we suppose we are having an idea right now, and we are waiting for doing the export, and in those 5 to 8 years, we are seeing our idea getting implemented by someone else. So what is your say on that? Should we wait for becoming exports, or should we try getting?
Okay, I'll tell you something, okay? Somebody will be born today. What will they, all the ideas are not going to be exhausted when he becomes 20. Is that right? So every day there are new ideas in the market actually. So what you have to do is, and it's just a first step, even if you are late. So if industry matures and if you are a late entrant, there is more competition, okay? But you can be moderately successful. So I was moderately successful in IT, but in my next businesses, I was more successful. So basically you don't have to think about all these things. It's a journey, as I said. But if you want to get in today, what is the expertise you have? And do you have the money to invest? I told 2 things. Either you should have money or expertise. If you don't have anything and you just want to get into business, you are wasting your time. I know a lot of people who are wasting their time, thinking just to brag that they are doing business. That should not be the goal actually. Lot of people have, I meet a lot of people, and people who fail are the braggers actually. They, if you are sincere, you might not make too much money, but you still will be, you will. Success is, if you have 1 rupees profit, it is success. If you have 1 rupees loss, you are a failure. See, if you have a loss, where do you cover the loss from? Somebody has to pump the money in, and if they don't pump the money, it will fail. So even if you have 1 rupee profit, nobody would know you have 1 rupee profit or 10 million rupee profit. But you should be a profitable business. So basically it's a journey. Don't think you are going to lose time and you run into it. Never have that thought. That is a very bad thought actually. That is actually negative thought that the world is going to everyone else will be. So I'll tell you something very beautiful, okay? I have never read it anywhere. People die, okay? And when people die, their business is taken over by someone else, and that would be you. So basically, that is the interesting thing about this creation. And 90% of kids in US, I don't know about India, okay? 90% of kids in US, they cannot run their parents' business, they fail. So someone else takes that business. So, there will always be, every day somebody is dying. So the opportunity is being created. Sorry to say that, but that is a fact of life. People don't know, nobody talks about it. But this is the most beautiful thing to know. This is, this is a fact. I am not doing it. This is a reality. So never be in a rush. I am not in a rush today. I want to be Bill Gates. Can I become Bill Gates? Maybe not. But my thing is, I just concentrate on what I can deliver and what I can do every day and how I can enjoy my day. I am not stressful any day. I should be happy every day because my life today is today. Whatever is past is not going to come back. Whatever is future, I don't know even if I have a day more for me. So I just worry about right now. And it should be stress-free and it should be fun. Like, something you enjoy. Fun means, it's not like playing cricket, but, something you like to do with minimal amount of stress. Stress is part of human life actually. That has to be there. But, it should not be a stress which you cannot handle. Good question. Anyone else? Okay guys, thanks a lot. I wish you So thanks for attending this first of all, and I will say your success will be dependent on the amount of knowledge you acquire, and success is your happiness.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your experience with us. It was really inspiring. Sir has said a very beautiful thing, that journey is beautiful than destination. It's not about being successful, it's about being happy with what you are doing. So students always keep in mind, money is not important. What is important is knowledge and integrity. So with this, a leader takes people where they want to go. A great leader takes people where they don't necessarily want to go but ought to go. With these lines, I would like to invite our Dean, Professor Reshma Nasreen, to share concluding remarks of the evening.
Good afternoon. Your clapping resembled more of a dismiss clap than an applause. Do you know the difference between the dismiss clap and an applause? The dismiss clap goes like this: 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, and that is how you were clapping right now. So can I have a big round of applause, not for myself, but for yourself? Good afternoon. Okay, that is all. I understand that I am standing between your break, your lunch break, and this session, but please bear with me. It is an onerous task for myself as well, when luminaries have already spoken and then you have to summarize what they have already said. It's like attending a 2-hour class and then summarizing, sharing your notes. So that is what I'll be doing as of now. First, my observations for the whole audience, as well as a very successful angel investor. Throughout the program, I saw a kind of kinetic energy. He was not sitting straight. He kept on moving like this. And I saw the audience also resonating that movement. Each one of you was in a dynamic equilibrium. So sometimes this energy that we have has to be harnessed. And just stay quiet for 2 seconds and put all the circulation, all the energy that you are spending in talking or walking here, and let the energy rush to your brain and see how effective your brain is. So each one of you has to understand your hidden potential. You have to understand yourself. And now, these were my observations. Now I'll just summarize a couple of things that might have been left out in the hurry because Honorable Vice Chancellor was in between 2 meetings, and he might not have espoused on this much. For the chief guest and the guest of honor, just a brief, and for some of the students, this university is an act of entrepreneurship, I would say, a non-profitable one, which was started by Hakim Abdul Hamid Sahab. He served this everything. He had conceived it, he had laid out the plans, and we have at present 10 schools running in the university. And he made it in such a way that it sustains itself. And we have got Hamdard, the national laboratories, which are separate to the university. And he knew that we would, and he was that level of visionary that he knew that we would be requiring skill-based courses, and he established a business and employment bureau which was separate to the university system, which gives short-term training to individuals to make them employable. And we have been doing that for a long period of time. The university has also started a skill-based campus at Moradabad. So Jamia Hamdard has got an inherent legacy to continue, a legacy of service, a legacy of innovation and development. So Hamdard encapsulates that. It encapsulates sustenance, sustainability, growth and service. And that is where I see you stalwarts who have been doing that abroad. I am sure being an Indian, you are lighting, you are the flag bearer for the Indian community also in the US. And what Mr. Zafar Sheikh has talked about is, I could see a level of self-actualization. उन्होंने जितनी भी बातें कही उसमें किसी से competition की बात नहीं थी. The whole journey, all that he has spoken about is to harness his own potential, his own capabilities, and like he said, every individual should understand themselves, and each one of you as individual has got enormous potential for growth and enormous potential to contribute. And your competition in life is only with your inherent lethargy and what is it called in physics? Resistance. Your inertia, your hesitancy, and each one of you who has appreciated the lecture and have taken something, you are winners today because your mind is open to suggestions. And I'm sorry that we did not give Mr. Brad Nation the chance to speak more on healthcare. So this is a talk that has to be continued later on. We'll maybe have a webinar wherein you can give some time to address the healthcare issues, the innovation in healthcare later on. So thank you for reaching out to the level of the students and bringing all the points of entrepreneurship. I know a person who's practicing to preach is a different genre altogether, but thank you for taking that effort and noting it down. I was discussing with Mr. Zafar Sheikh. I told he has really tried to reach out to the level of the students and give out those points to them. And Mr. Zafar Sheikh, what should I say about your journey? You make us proud, and we hope you keep on making us proud. So thank you to the Department of Management for capitalizing on this opportunity. I know it was a 5-day window, but when we see an opportunity, that is the theme of the department. We never say no. More than you have thought. With these words, I'll say thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your insights. With this, we are moving towards the end of our event. So now I would like to invite Dr. Shahnawaz, Associate Professor, Department of Management, to propose the formal vote of thanks. Thank you, everyone.
A very good afternoon to all of you. A program is only as successful as is the audience, and we, with our full appreciation, would like to extend our acknowledgement for your patience, vibrance and participation. Students have been waiting since morning, and they have showed a very heightened spirit of consumption of knowledge. So we really appreciate that on part of the department. I would like to appreciate our presence of the colleagues, the faculty members, the placement officer, who have been very instrumental. Let me also thank our HOD, Dr. Sana Beg, for her, exciting start to the 25th year celebration of the foundation of the department. We are doing a silver jubilee year, and I think this probably marks the first of the programs in the list. Thank you very much, our graceful and dignified and gracious Dean, Professor Reshma Nasreen, for her relentless support to all our programs. And she's very meticulous about the planning and the delivery part. So thank you so much. Heartfelt gratitude to our Vice Chancellor, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Afshar Alam Sahab, who is very active and who doesn't disappoint any time by saying no to any program. He's always present for the programs, tries to give us a guiding hand, and he's really a fascinating person as a leader. I would like to thank Dr. Brad Nation for his theoretical presentation, melting it down to the level of the students' knowledge capacity. And I would ultimately thank our chief guest, Dr. Zafar Sheikh, for a very enlightening, interactive and practical discourse and discussion with the students. And what I personally liked about his speech, his I would say lecture or sharing of experience, was the idea that do not get disheartened by failures and do not blame others for failures. System will remain as it always has been. And by this I would just like to end by saying a few couplets from one of my known acquaintances. If you allow me, I can have it in front of you. आईने पे गर्दो गुबार है, ये तेरे जहन का फिशार है, जिसे संवरने का शौक़ था वो इसी आईने में संवर गए. Thank you so much all of you.
Okay, thank you everyone for your patience. All are requested to be silent, please. Okay, now I will request everyone to rise up for the national anthem, please. Thank you everyone. Thank you for your patience. Thank you.
बच्चों के वॉलंटियर्स 2 चाहिए लेने के लिए.
Jamshid sir.